All right, welcome to the Carnival Ref Live. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jean Paul. My IG, my social media is Jean Paul Comedy, as you see right there. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, but I make my home in Toronto, Canada. First and foremost, before we get started, to everybody out there that is celebrating Emancipation Day, I want to say happy Emancipation Day to everybody. Today is a little bittersweet for me. Today is supposed to be Caribana in Toronto, but due to COVID, there is no Caribana this year. There's no carnivals anywhere in the world this year. So for those of you who actually made it to Trinidad and Tobago Carnival this year, you are very lucky. Consider yourself lucky. It's been a tough 2020. It's been a tough 2020. You know what I mean? Nobody saw this coming. But I've taken some positive out of this negative. I know it's a stressful time for everybody out there going through this lockdown, going through the quarantine all over the world. But I have definitely learned to manage my stress. And little fact, I don't know how many people know this, but I have to say big up to all the Jamaicans out there because you guys have been getting me through this whole stress levels of this COVID thing. There's an ancient practice called Jamaican yoga. I don't think many people actually know about Jamaican yoga, but that's what I've been practicing. I found it online, and it's been working. It's been keeping my levels down. Whenever I'm stressed out, if I'm outside in a lineup and people aren't social distancing or they want to talk to me without a mask, I just breathe in deeply. And then I exhale, yo, go suck yourself. And I say that a few times. And man, what it does wonders for my stress levels out there. So, but COVID has been interesting. One of the other positives is I've been able to grow a beard. My COVID beard to be exact out there. And the funny thing about that is I'm normally clean shaven. You know, being from Trinidad and Tobago, I'm usually a little racially ambiguous. But I can't grow a beard just for the simple fact that I enjoy airline travel. You know what I mean? People, right? You know what I'm talking about. Because the vibe with the beard, way different than without the beard. The vibe without the beard, we all know is, hey, brother, what's happening, brother? You good, brother? But the vibe with the beard that I give off is more like, brother, ding, 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 which is horrible for airline travel. But it's great for catching taxis. That's all I want to say going forward. I want to say big up to everybody out there who is staying safe, who is actually wearing their masks and listening to all the leaders of their countries that are trying to keep them safe. Be thankful that I'm actually thankful that I don't live in the United States of America because I don't really know what Donald Trump is doing. That guy has got to be probably one of the worst leaders to be following for COVID. With I want you guys to take some bleach and you inject bleach into your skin. That's what you got to do. And it actually makes me miss Obama more so than anything. Obama was probably one of the greatest leaders we've had in recent times. Why wouldn't you wish that Barack? What I want to tell everyone out there: just wash your hands, wear your masks. That's all we really need you to do. Don't really need to follow what other people are doing. We'll stay safe, stay inside. And that's what we'll do. Listen to a lot of Soca. I don't know how many people actually didn't know this, but Barack Obama is a huge Soca fan. And that's one of the things I love about him. I didn't think he would be into Soca, but he totally is. I actually saw him in an interview and he was quoting and people were like, where's this coming from? And they didn't realize it was actually a Soca song. And I remember the clip and it basically was, he's like, we don't see color. We don't see race. I just want to wish well to all of my family. Like. And that's what I want to big up Barack Obama for being up on the music. I'm missing home. I actually wish I was quarantining in Trinidad and Tobago. So everybody out there in Trinidad and Tobago, if you are quarantining and you're still locked down and you still get to go to the beaches and you still get to go to Tobago and enjoy the sunshine, please enjoy that from me. I really miss being at home. Plus, I just love the people in Trinidad. I love the characters. One of my favorite people in Trinidad and Tobago has to be my partner, Aizaman. That's what we call him because that's what he calls himself because that's how he talks. I love going home because every time I go to Trinidad, Aizaman, he don't like to do anything. You know what I mean? So he's like, hey, let's go to the beach now. And he'd be like, Aizaman who don't really like to go to the beach and thing. He's a man who really like to see no next man toes in his sand. He's a man who really like to see no next man in short pants and thing. So big up to my man, he's a man. I know you out there probably not wear a mask because he's a man who do really like to wear mask and thing. You know what I mean? It just cover my face and he's a man can't breathe properly and things. So big up to everybody out there going there. So looking for my man, Andre Truquan. Looking for Mr. Trini Jungle Juice himself. Wearing a mask, because he's a man who doesn't wear a mask, Brents.
I'm a man that's wear my mask when I go to bed.
I hear you. I hear you, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Wow.
Good to
Jean-Paul, first of all, I have to say that I thought your first name is Jean-Paul, as I told you. Over these 10, 15 years I've known you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, what's your last name? And you say Paul.
Yeah.
First name Jean, last name Paul.
Yeah. I used to get that from a lot of people.
You just changed the whole game because I get nervous every time I have to do a show. And I realize it's a lot easier to interview people when you're on a cruise or in a fete with alcohol and music. I could just do my job. But to sit down in a room with absolutely nothing going on and there's no production assistant, there's no lights in, nothing, just you on a camera, pretending to get excited and hype. I can't do it. I was getting nervous. And then you walked on the camera and boom, smashed it. I just said, man, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to pack up. I can't do this show no more. Paul is just showed me I was done. And then even cracking, like I was, oh man, the jokes. Like seriously, how do you do it? Like how do you get the?
You know, the funny thing is, what happened was at the beginning of the pandemic. So let's say March, when everything kind of started slowly shutting down, and I just started seeing gigs disappear. So for the first 2 weeks, much like everyone else, a little bit of anxiety set in. And then and this is going to sound cheesy or cliche, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. What changed everything for me, because people were like, why don't you do a show online? And I'm like, you can't. Comedy doesn't work like that. You can't. Yeah. There needs to be a reciprocation of energy and laughter and, something for us to build off of. And what changed everything for me was seeing all these people on the front line, all the doctors, all the nurses, all the people who worked in groceries, just to make sure that other people could, have a life and be safe. And I'm like, if these people could put their lives on the line, who am I to not be able to try to figure out how to at least make an attempt to make online performing work to spread a little bit of cheer? So I figured, you know what? Let me not be selfish. This is the easiest thing I can do. This is the safest thing I can do. And that's how it was. And being a comedian, we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know if this is the future. So why not at least make the attempt to get to learn how to do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a good point, though, because in a lot of the chats that I'm in, especially within the entertainment community, the DJs, the artists, they say, people are, hey, you're not into this virtual fete.
Yeah.
That's not my scene, dog. Like I'm not trying to whine virtually. I want to jam on a bumsy proper, right?
I trust when we come out of this, people are going to be wiping down bumsies before they whine. People are going to be hand sanitized and wiping down bumsies and putting a big mask on a bottom mask.
You're right, but the thing is, if these people don't, some folks have to adapt and some don't want to, but we don't know how long this thing gonna last, as you said. If this goes on for 2 years, and you tell yourself, you know what, I hold on tight. I go wait these 6 months, I go wait the year, I go wait however long, and I can get back into my regular game. And that game never becomes regular. What happened to you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the whole thing is. And the last people to actually go back out and going to be let out to do what we do are going to be entertainers, from musicians to singers to soca artists to rappers to R&B to comedians to you name it. We are going to be the last people to go back.
Phase number 1,002,000,002.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't want to wait, and I don't think I'm killing the game, but I'm actually surprised at how much more busy I am now and how much I've actually utilized my time.
Right.
To put content out there. And I'm not even that kind of guy. I'm not even the social media guy. I rather you see me live. I rather, we exchange that kind of energy and stuff like that. But, this is what I've had to do. Yeah.
And you're doing, what, 2 shows online right now?
So I do 3 shows online actually. So myself and Hans Di Fontala,
From Cestiban.
From Cestiban. Yeah, shout out. We do a show every Tuesday called The Kitchen Table on IG, which will eventually move platforms. But again, we didn't know how long we were going to be locked down. So this was just something we say, hey, let me try a thing. And we've locked out. We'd have great guests. We've had Russell Peters, you know, the international comedian, Dwayne DJ Bravo, champion, one of the greatest all-rounder cricketers in the world, Keshav from Just Now, Nadia Batson, Tedderson John, Gina Yashere, who's a great English comedian, originally from England, who now is one of the co-creators of Bob Loves Abishola on CBS with Chuck Lorre. Wow. We've had Trix, who's done, you know, the Soca Cruise. Yeah, we've had Afion Crockett, who's again one of our talented comedians.
And people that realize he's
Trinidadian
parents or something like that.
Yeah, his both his parents actually.
Both. Wow.
Yeah, both his parents. So so we've had a ton of guests. Actually, shit, I'm gonna ask you here now. We were actually gonna ask you to be our guest next Tuesday.
No lie.
Yeah.
Kitchen table.
Yeah. We just as we got off, because the funny thing is, on Tuesday when I was talking to Hans and Tedderson John, right near the end, I was like, wait a minute, tonight is supposed to be Tuesday on the Rocks in Toronto. And then everybody got sad for a little while, and then but then we moved on. So also on Thursdays, I do a show called Red, White, and Laugh, where I showcase Trinidadian or Trinbagonian comedians. We've had Kivo, Kwame Weeks. I don't know if you know Kwame. He's the guy who does the thing behind the bars. Yeah, hilarious. I've had Nikki Crosby. Yeah. Nikki Crosby. Had Rhodey. Who else have we had on that show? Simi Di Trini. Cindy and Jane Boisson. I've had a ton of people, and you know, looking forward to having Errol Fabian, who's supposed to be on this week, coming. But I know he's running for elections in Trinidad, so I'm not too sure whether we'll actually get him, as things kind of gearing up for that. So I might have but what I've learned is Trinidad is rich in comedic talent, man, and it's made me proud to be able to give these people a bit of a platform and introduce them to some of the people who might not have been able to see them outside of the region, you know. And then one last plug, people are like, how much show is this man doing? Like,
but no, the one on the show on Thursday, Red, White, and
Laugh.
Was it difference between that show and the show on Tuesday?
The difference between that is, this is me kind of digging into and me trying to find out through each comedian what their connection to the quilt or the history of what Trinidad and Tobago comedy is. Finding out a little bit of history from them, who their influences were.
It's all, like, you're trying to get basically a lot of 100% Trini comedians.
Yeah. Or people like, if I'm gonna have Afion on as well, and hoping to get men like Romani Malco on and stuff like that. People who have Trinity parentage or heritage and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Romani's people, by the way, to get back to me.
But they just released he just released a movie, right? With Bungie.
I was trying to plug it before it released. But his people didn't get back to my people, and but me and him be talking.
Yeah, I know that.
Funny enough.
Yeah, I know that scene. So, and then I do a comedy panel show called The Minority Report, which is me and a few other comedians. Got Jamaican comedians, Filipino comedians, Indian, like India, comedians, and basically the tagline for that is different POVs from different POCs. And for the record, I hate the term POCs, and I don't like to say people of color. I like to say people of comedy. So just trying to have representation.
I heard POC.
Yeah, well, that's you know up here, North America always comes up with these ridiculous. It's actually BIPOC, which is Black Indigenous People of Color. But BIPOC sounds like a bisexual gangster rapper, BIPOC chapeau. So, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, man, it's so I've been doing online shows for a lot of corporations and stuff like that, and like banks and real estate and stuff like that. So just trying to stay relevant, trying to stay current, and just trying to stay active, because I mean,
you have no choice, right?
Yeah, I ain't trying to get rusty like that. So
for real, it's funny. It's 7:15, and we were perfectly on time. but leave it to the Trinis. I got a message like 5 minutes before 7 that says, yo, Dre, Nyla and something else. We're running a bit late, so let the comedian go first.
Hilarious. That's always what it is. Stretch.
And yeah, so here you wanna now having a kitchen table
conversation.
Yeah, conversation on a Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
totally
waiting on Nyla and Anson to jump on, but I'm gonna just message him there real quick.
You know what I'm curious about, actually, as we talking, and today is supposed to be Caribana in Toronto, or whatever people want to call it, the Scotiabank cultural, indigenous, blah, blah, blah parade, whatever they call it. I still call it Caribana. It'll always be Caribana to me.
No, well, here's the thing, though, right? We all know that's Caribana. Are the young kids calling it Caribana as well?
No, some of them call it the Scotiabank parade or some. Yeah, because and
I want to make sure, because I was talking to some friends in some carnival, and I said, "Are you from the T dot?" And they laughed at me. They said, "Who says that?"
It's the 6, bro.
It's the and I said,
the 6, bro.
I just dated myself right away, from not knowing that, because when I grew up, everybody said T dot.
Yeah.
And then, now it's the 6. And
it's the 6, man.
Yeah, so now I can be running around born in Caribana. And as soon as you say Caribana, people say, yeah, what year you were born again?
Yeah.
What generation are you from?
What band did Jesus play in?
So, okay, back to Caribana.
So what I was curious about was, so I know what they're trying to do here. They're trying to do a little virtual Zoom banner or some kind of where I guess they have DJs and I know Freetown's supposed to be singing and I believe performers like Denise Belfort and a bunch of others. What's happening for Notting Hill? Is there any type of update for Notting Hill?
I saw. We posted a press release. Notting Hill is going to do a full show. I think it's all pre-produced. So they got the samba band in, steel pan, and they pre-recorded everything. And they're just going to run it, I think, that whole weekend, like Notting Hill weekend.
Kind of like on YouTube? Because I know Kes and them did that for Brooklyn.
Yeah, if not on YouTube, it's going to be off of their website, the Notting Hill official website.
Okay.
They actually put in a full production. And a lot of, I don't know if Antigua, which is also this weekend, and Barbados, huh?
Yes, true, crop over.
Antigua.
Yeah, crop over. Wow. Which one would you have gone to? Or would you have done both? Would you have come to Toronto and then fly out?
I've been doing crop over like religiously since I want to say some 2007.
Hey, just over
straight. And boy. And the funny thing is, people always ask me why, and the answer is simple. I always tell them I will choose an island, I will choose a beach, I'll choose sand any day over concrete.
I agree.
That's just me. And they know I tried many times to say I'll split it. I'll come to Toronto before, and then I'll leave on the Saturday after the jump.
The only thing I would tell you to come for is Tuesday on the rocks with Kes and them. Magical, Brits. Like it sets the tone.
Tuesday?
Yeah. Because I'm not even, and I'm not trying to. Whatever, we're being honest here. This is the Carnival Ref Live. We are being honest about it. We have an honest conversation, and the only way to move forward is I've lost a ton of faith in the organizers of the entire festival for years now, and I find it's all the periphery stuff that does more for it. And no disrespect to any of the band leaders and all the mask makers, because they still make beautiful costumes and stuff like that. It's just the organization outside of that, which the context of which they have to work within, that I have zero faith in. So I can't even be mad at you for promoting Barbados.
But it's weird. It's not even a matter of me promoting Barbados. I just choose Barbados, but I still promote all carnivals. And if I could clone myself, I would be in crop over and Toronto and Antigua. I haven't even touched Antigua yet, which
that would be great.
Which is crazy. And Antigua, luckily, is a 2-day jump. So crop over, which is just the Monday. If you're a real carnival junkie, you could fly out Monday night and jump Tuesday Antigua.
Yeah, catch that.
So you really could do Saturday Caribana, Monday Barbados, Tuesday Antigua.
Red Bull gives you wings.
If you're really serious about it. and that's a goal. That's a goal.
That is what rum for. Rum to keep you moving. All that sugar in your system. All that cane juice.
Yeah.
So
mad.
But how things over in the UK from a COVID perspective? I'm not really sure how you all are dealing with
I'll tell you
the
this, sir.
whole thing that's going on. Yeah.
People in London are running around as if there's no COVID. That's how I feel. I kid you not. When I first got into before I had to self quarantine for the 14 days on the way between the airport and the town I'm in, East Putney. Everyone in East Putney and the town over, walking around in their shorts, bubbling, no mask. People just out there in the street, normal. I got in, I swear, I got about 3 messages the same day that says, yo, Brads, as soon as the 14 days done, we link, let me bust a lime, let me drink.
Wow.
And I thinking, so I started getting messages from a brethren yesterday, him, what going on this weekend? And my standard answer is the same, HOME, home. And they're like, yo, like, I mean, it's hot because yesterday was the 3rd hottest day ever in history in London. I think it was in the 80s, if not the 90s.
Wow.
And it's that hot. I was walking around bareback all day. That's how crazy it is out there.
Wow.
So, you know, London, how it is. When the weather is nice, you have to be outside and be
Everybody
enjoying.
outside. Everybody outside.
On beaches on the South Coast, ram out.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about COVID. So, weird enough, people in London were making me feel like I can just run out and go to a restaurant and party and be normal. And then you just check yourself on watching news and you see, you know, things, all the cases and, you know, the deaths. I mean, it went down, but it went back up. So
Yeah.
I trying to stay inside, but everybody else trying to bubble. And I don't know. I'm going to balance it. So next week, on the 8th is my birthday. And seriously.
Yo, boy.
Here it is now. I was planning to go to Croatia.
Wow.
And I was booking a ticket and I was going to Croatia for my birthday. And I said, you know what? Out of all the EU, which has locked off anybody coming in, especially if you have a US passport, you could still come into Croatia, but you have to have a COVID negative test 2 days before. So I said, okay, you know what? I'll take the test. I'm going to go to Croatia. I'll just go to the beach and just chill. Only to realize that what telling myself, because
Where are you telling myself?
yeah, no, if you didn't realize, right? And I saw this happening to people. Say hypothetically, I did go to Croatia, right? And then the UK decide, yo, the cases across the world getting out of control. We are now closing our borders.
Yeah. And you lock.
And I can't get back to the UK.
You lock out.
Now I'm stuck in Croatia on vacation. I went to bubble for a weekend, and now I'm there for how long? I don't know nobody in Croatia, so I have nobody to go and pull up a bed by a couch. So I thought about that, and I said, you know, it don't make sense because if I go Croatia and that happen, I could jeopardize. So the key thing is of the story is if you want to travel and you really have the itch, to go somewhere, I don't tell you not to go, but make sure 2 things could happen. That wherever you go, you could be comfortable staying there for more than your time that you plan to. You could be there for 3 months, 6 months, you don't know, but make sure that you have that flexibility to stay there that long.
Yeah.
And 2, wherever you have to go back, that you, no matter what happened, they can't close their borders to you. So like me coming back to London, I am not a British citizen.
Yeah.
They can tell me to hell with you.
Yeah.
So me leaving England right now could jeopardize me coming back to England if they close their border.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canada and you're trying to go to flex in Barbados or Trinidad and you get through, know very well that you could get locked down in either one of those countries. If
I would love to get locked down. I'd love to get locked down in Trinidad.
So that's a good travel tip if you have the itch and you want to go somewhere.
The funny thing is, I had to actually, for the first time, well, the only time since everything, I had to jump on a plane last week because I had to do Just for Laughs in Montreal. So they had shows over there.
How many people on that plane? Seriously?
20.
Right.
I had the whole back 8 rows to myself.
Traveling right now is scary. Freaking, it's so nice because there's nobody else.
Yeah.
So you have no lines.
But the anxiety was So when I was going through security, I had a little bit of anxiety, to be honest. I was like, wait, like every step of the way is like, I have COVID. I know I have COVID. every day, I have COVID.
No, you know what? I'm the opposite to you. I walk around saying, I have the antibodies. I already had that shit from Trinidad Carnival. And I just say that. I don't know. I never
real people.
I just said to myself, I got out. So many people had that in Carnival that I know somebody wind up or jump up on me. And I drink their drink. And I had it and I recovered. I didn't even know, but I good. So I telling myself that the opposite to you. But at the same time, I licking my fingers on the plane. After my meal. I swear to God, I touched my eye, I cleaned my yampy, and then I tell myself, yo, if I didn't have it, I know I have it now.
Man, give it to yourself, yes.
I give it to myself.
Man, give it to yourself. But yo, COVID is no joke, man. It has turned everyday, regular interactions. Like I feel like everything I do is like I'm flushing the toilet with my foot. That's like that's how I feel. Like I don't want to touch anything. It's like this is ridiculous. But traveling on the plane, because there was so little people, my anxiety levels dropped. And then every step of the way, and I was worried about Montreal, because Montreal, it was like one of the epicenters for Canada. And,
right. So worse than Toronto, Montreal?
Yeah.
Well,
not just Montreal, but the whole of Quebec. So
okay.
So then when I went, I was glad there was nobody on the plane. Then when I got off, the taxis have the plexiglass and you have to sit like way in the back and all that kind of stuff. And everybody has to have the driver have to have his mask on. You have to have your mask on. Everybody indoors. Once you walk inside somewhere, you have to pump the sanitizer and masks have to be on. One person in the elevator. So people on the streets were wearing masks. So, it's made things a little less stressful. But but yeah, man, I miss Montreal though. Oh God. So if I was going to get locked down,
show, right? Just for last. So this was a live show?
Yeah, it was a drive-in. So we weren't even performing we're performing for people, but they were like sitting outside of their cars. We have this giant screen behind you, broadcasting everything, but
so people are allowed to drive and just sit outside their vehicles.
Yes, because the way they spaced the cars out, these cars were 6 feet away from each other.
Right, which makes sense.
Yeah, so, and then they encourage people to either sit on chairs in front of the car, or on the bonnet, or hang out the window, or whatever it was, around their car, so that you can actually hear the laughter. But when you're outside, you ain't hearing no laughter, everything going shoo, straight up. So, but it was good.
The way it was set up, you can, even when they're cracking up, it wasn't allowed ha 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 ha.
No, they could laugh.
But I'm saying, were you hearing it performing?
I heard the people directly in front, and it had like rows of cars.
Right.
So because it was 2 shows. So for the first show, I'm on, and I know my jokes are killer. Like I know, banger. So before I get up, I come on to a little Kessa and Etienne and Jimmy October, a little magic. So I feeling good, I loose, and then start into my jokes. I was like, cool, that's a good one. I know that's a good one. And then I was like, wait, this supposed to be more laughter than this. But this is all going on in my head. I'm still performing, but this is going on. I was like, am I bombing? And then, so it wasn't until I got off that one of my comedian partners who was there took me to the back. And he's like, no, man, you were killing. And then when the other performer was on, where I was standing, I could hear the laughter. And he's like, that's exactly what was happening. It's just that you can't hear that. This doesn't travel. It doesn't travel this way. Laughter, it travels this way. So the second show was fine because I knew what was going on and stuff like that. So, but it was interesting. It's all things that you have to adapt to, and I hate using the term the new normal. I just think normal is whatever normal is. It's not new. It's just normal. You know what I mean? So
I know, but I think we're painting new because we're not accustomed to it, right?
Exactly. And then at what point does new normal just become normal? You know what I mean? So what, second wave? Second wave is new normal. I mean, so I just figure this is just, as you say, if you don't adapt, you're dead, so in any sense of the word. So but I had a good time. Montreal was fantastic as usual. For anybody who's never been to Montreal, please go to Montreal in the summertime. What? Are you serious?
Montreal, I kid you not. Yeah, I know. So when everything is normal-ish, I'll come and check you for Montreal.
I'll make a road trip with you. And again, what I love about Montreal is it's like French Toronto. It has everything. It has culture, food, music, fashion, style, as they call it, je ne sais quoi. They have all of that. And the vibe in that city is absolutely amazing. And yeah. And the other stuff with, the girls and rah-rah-ree and all that kind of stuff. So
wow. Have you ever been on stage doing your set and I don't know how this thing works, but I'm assuming it's all pre-written and is a format. Have you gone into somewhere and then realized, wait, no, I can't remember where I'm supposed to go next? Was the next joke or line? Or Has that happened to you?
Yeah, no, but I can't speak for other comedians. I just know if it's one thing I've always prided myself on, and I think one of the reasons I am as successful as I am on stage is I've always had a natural sense of timing. And I've always been able to, if anything happens, whether it be somebody fall down in front, or somebody drop something, or somebody wearing a striped hat, or whatever, or somebody says something, and I think most Caribbean people, most West Indians are fairly.
You know, it's weird. I was just thinking now. I was like, that's a real Caribbean thing. Just being in time in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Pekong and yeah. So I've always been able to react and circumvent that. So even if I had a set planned out to say, I'm gonna do this joke, this joke. If in reading the crowd, I realize that this joke isn't working and I'm supposed to follow it up with this joke, which is not similar, but along the same vein, it's like, well, I'm not sticking with that. I will move to, and I'll just pull something else from somewhere.
Multiple lanes.
Yeah. But I've always been that way. I'm not a A B C D E F G guy. I'm a A X Q R 5 11. You know what I mean? So I'm very good and comfortable.
You know, it's weird as you're saying that, something came to my mind, right? I went to see Russell Peters live.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously when I first got introduced to Russell, it was on the YouTube, seeing his whatever show it was from that, he's telling the Jamaican jokes and doing the Indian accent and the Chinese accent. And I thought he was the funniest guy ever. And I went to see him live and he was funny. But when he was live, he did a lot of impromptu. Like,
well, where are you from? Where are you from? Croatia? And then he'll do.
He did a lot of that. And to me, I was disappointed because I wanted a little bit more of his set jokes.
You wanted prepared material.
Yeah, like give me a little bit of what I expected, and then you could improvise too. But it was so much improv that it took away from my expectation of the show as being Indian accents and Chinese accents, and me just crying.
But you know what the thing is, and for him, I find it's a double-edged sword. Because he really is one of the funniest people I know, because me and him good partners from time. So even when we hang out, it's just between the two of us, we just laughing like schoolgirls. I think the double-edged sword for Russell is, unfortunately, he's so huge internationally as far as audiences go, that they have an expectation and a lot of, because you know what it is? Some people show up to the show and pay that money to sit up front so they can go, me, pick me. I'm from blah, blah, blah. I'm from Make Fun of Me. So they want to be part of the show. So it's almost like you either say, nah, I'm not going to do that tonight, and then risk people going, what? But we came to see that. So I suspect, I would like to suspect at some point that that he'll probably, not that he can't or not that he won't, but I suspect at some point he's going to make that turn where he's like, all right, cool, I'm going to pull back from where are you from and where are you from, which is great. But that's what people want to see. And it's like telling a man, you have a great right hand. I want to see you knock somebody out with a left hook as opposed to a right hand. You know what I mean? But if I know my power is in my right hand, I'm gonna default to that. So it's tough. So it's a tough thing to navigate. So, but I feel for him. I feel for him on that, because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that's what one of the things I'm happiest about in no longer being compared to Russell, because we have very similar senses of humor, same timing. Like even when we lime in and something happens, there are a good few times where at the same time we'll both say the same thing about the blah blah blah. Oh shit. But what I have taken a ton of solace in is becoming a writer, and I think And when it's to become a writer, are you writing jokes for other people or yourself? Right now I write for myself. The only time I ever write for anybody else is if they ask me to write for a TV show, and then I'll write on a TV show and I'll write lines. But to say that, hey, can you write out a set? But what I might also do is, if I see a comedian that I know and I'm cool with, and I know they're working on something, and I'm watching them live, I'll say, hey, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to say that you need to, but just in case this popped into my head and here's a tag, or here's a whatever, or maybe you should try doing this. And luckily for me, I have a certain amount of respect from comedians that know what I've done. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of people who will be watching this and be like, I don't know this man at all. But if I run through my resume, I've done Just for Laughs Gala, which is probably the premier comedy festival in the entire world. Not once, not twice, probably about 4 times I've done Just for Laughs. I've recorded for Kevin Hart's LOL Network, Winnipeg Festival, Halifax Festival. I've done TV, I've done radio. I've written for, TV shows, been nominated for this, that, performed in Israel, literally all over the entire world. But again, I think what works for me is, which I'm happy about, is my laid back style. I think comes from being someone from an island, a proud islander. You know what I mean? And I'm a great storyteller. I love to tell stories, and I like to take people on a ride, and then at the last second, and then they're like, "Oh shit, I didn't see that coming," and then boom, and then that's where the punchline is. You know what I mean?
Do you tell how? Back in the day, I don't even know, like Tommy Joseph and these guys had set jokes, Rex West, all these people from. Do you have set jokes?
No. I have set pieces, but
no, but like set jokes where they'll say 3 men walk into a bar.
No. So what I've always said too. No. So what I've always said, and no disrespect to anybody, which is one of the reasons when we're talking about older Trini comedians. That's why I always tip my hat to men like Sprang Along, because Sprang Along was probably one of the first people to unapologetically represent the culture with original material. Now, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to disrespect or take anything away from men like Tommy, because Tommy was a master at what he did. I actually think Tommy was one of the Tommy. In comparison, remember what Oliver did for Jamaican comedy when people started to pass around those VHS tapes of Oliver at Large and stuff like that. I think these Tommy hosting and MC spectacular tents that every year people would be like, "Hey, let me get the spectacular tape, man. I want to see what shit Tommy was talking." Yeah. And that's, so I think he brought Trini comedy to the forefront that way. But I always say those days it was very in its infancy stages, and those guys would just retool jokes that you could tell, or I could tell, or somebody could tell at a rum shop, or standing outside lineman, and hey man, a man and a woman walking to a bar, and a man say, you know what I mean? But that's something you could say. That's something you could get off the internet. But they're great at telling them. But I think what has happened, thank God, and fortunately, is it has evolved. Like Rachel Price is easily probably one of the greatest, and I rank her among storytellers like who you call Bill Cosby. I mean, like pre pill in your drink Cosby. Yeah. But she is arguably one of the greatest storytellers I've ever heard in my entire life. But it's just what people like, and I like seeing the evolution and growth of it, from the Kivos to the Junior Lees to, it has a young guy coming up right now called Kevin Sawyer, who actually, it's funny thing is, even though he has crutches and stuff like that, he doesn't use that as a crutch at all. He is probably one of the great writers and performers that we will be learning about, that you all will be learning about, and I already know in the next few years. Kevin Sawyer is it's gonna be crazy. So,
wow. Who do you rank as your top 3 funniest comedians
right
out of Trinidad? In Trinidad.
In Trinidad?
Living in Trinidad, huh?
I'd have to say Rachel.
I'd
have to say Rachel Price, just because she's premier.
And I know it's weird. I never think of Rachel and comedy together. And I know Rachel for years, but she does radio and
she's a master. She's a master.
But I've been to a couple of I think 2 of her shows, and you're right.
She's a master. She's a master. And the crazy thing about Rachel is she can actually, so let's just say Rachel has a show Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can go Thursday, go Friday, and not hear any of what you heard Thursday, then go Saturday and not hear any of what you heard Thursday or Friday. And she would go on forever. Like, it's to the point where because a lot of those theaters have unions and you have to be off or else you pay in overtime and da 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 da. It's to the point now where she's so good and she's so stream of consciousness that she has to have people on the side to be like, yo, Rachel, yo, overtime, come on. So that's how good she is. That's how good she is. So I'd say her
one.
I really have to give Kivo his props, because if it's one thing I must say about Kivo is not only is he clean, not only is he wholesome, he understands the business, he understands the brand, and he puts in the work and the preparation to do what he does for that.
It's weird because if you just watch his clips on Instagram as an ordinary person, you'll never think that.
No.
You'll be this guy just walking back in his car.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, he actually says so.
He just fly this.
Yeah,
but you don't realize he's putting in some.
He puts in serious work. If it's one guy who works extremely hard at making it look like he's not working, it's Kivo for sure. And who would I say on the other? See, it's tough because there's so many of them, but so here's probably the first time I've understand what a teacher's pet is. And when a teacher has someone that they like and all the other students are like, I don't even know why I mislike that one, man. He always, there's a guy by the name of Jervale Jr. Lee, tiny little dude, but I find him so on stage, so charming and likable. And one of those people that walk out and you're already, and you're just waiting for them to say something. He's that guy, and I think for me, he's one of. And I'm not taking anything away from the Ruiz, the Nikki Crosbys, because I still think they're great at what they do. But if I had to give props to who it was, to who I would say my top three, which is really tough for me to do, because I think a ton of them are talented, from the Junior City Kevin Sawyers to Alan the Entertainer to Simi the Trini, to Kwame, to Gabriel Bridge Mohan. There's a ton, man. There's a ton that people have no clue that I like.
And these are the people that you're showcasing on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So I need to try to lock into that.
Yeah.
I know a few, and I'm sure a lot of people out there don't know half the names you just mentioned.
Red, White, and Laugh. Yeah.
Red, White, and Laugh.
Colin George, Jaro Bess Mitchell, Kareem Rockwell. Kareem Rockwell reminds me of a Trini, and not copying style, but he reminds me of a Trini Dave Chappelle. He reminds me of a Trini Dave Chappelle. Kind of laid back style, kind of off the wall, kind of thing, but funny, very funny. Lots and lots of funny people. So, and there's a young guy. He goes by the handle It's Talkative. I think he's like 18 or 19, and his social media, the fact that that younger generation knows how to grasp social media and how to work it, he cracks me. He just rails, boy, you rail stupid, rail stupid. He rails stupid, but good, so good. So,
guess it just popped on.
Nilo.
So yeah, folks, if everyone out there who came for Nyla Blackman and didn't really come for me or you,
or me,
and we just been we just here fluffing.
You didn't come for my first trapping.
Yeah. So they're getting ready. I'm gonna pull them in, and the show is supposed to finish at 7:30. But again, Trini time. So hold tight. Let me see if I could work some.
So I will back away for a little bit.
Hold on.
I'll back away for a little bit.